school. No, that's not the right guy. Don't want to thank Mr. Rowe from your school. Brad Rowe at your school drives a BMW with the registration walrus on it.
All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Durban, South Africa for the at the Tongaat Indoor Sports Center, and we're about to get underway here with the first ever African 3-on-3 championships. And in picture here you see the CEO of wheelchair basketball, Mr. Charles Saunders, briefing the players as to the rules and the order of play, and in a short while they will get this action underway. And of course we will show you, we're not showing you the entire day, but we will show you a few of the games and obviously explain to you during the course of each game as to the variations to the rules in comparison to the 5-on-5 game. So we will be back commentating as soon as the action is underway. When people write HBD, it drives me mad. So I'm going to thank you, Mike. This is the leader. Huh?
Happy birthday, drives me mad.
No, HBD. Just say happy birthday. Don't say HBD. Happy birthday, that man. It's that man. Yeah, I do that. Showing appreciation. Thanks, Papa. says number 4 Zahir Shalat, number 5 Mohamed Alini, number 6. I only know that because the Moroccan was writing the names. But I did fool you for 1 second there, didn't I? Yeah. Can we get started, please? Thank you.
Team is like, is based in Africa.
Algeria.
Okay, game number 1. South Africa number 1 team versus Kenya. South Africa, Kenya.
This will be an absolute rout.
South Africa, Kenya.
It's going to be a what?
Jeff, would you mind passing me one of the programs just so that I can...
We have South Africa on this side of the team, Kenya on that side, please. Kenya, this side, please. Referee, we have Arnold and Costa.
Okay, I'll come in now.
All right, good morning once again from Durban, South Africa, here at the Tongaat Indoor Sports Center. And today's action brings the 3-on-3 version of this, the 2017 IWBF Afro World Championship Qualification Tournament. And history being made today, as this is the first ever African competition. So first up, we have the team from South Africa A. South Africa will have 2 representative teams here in this tournament, and they will be taking on the Kenyan side, and the tip-off falls to the Kenyans, and they will try and see if they can cause a major upset here after finishing 7th in the 5-on-5 competition. And South Africa now with Rakhetsi Moleti will try and get some points on the board. So just to try and decipher some of the variations to this version of the game, the players play on a half court, and each team is only allowed a maximum of 4 players. The scoring is how the points work is every shot within inside the 3-point arc is worth 2 points. Every shot from behind the arc is worth 3 points. Same as the normal normal 5-on-5 version. And the difference comes in here is when it's a personal foul committed, any fouls will mean that the opposition team will be awarded 1 point. So object here, obviously, no fouls, and keep the scoring going. The other variation to the rules is that the rebounder can immediately score off a defensive or offensive rebound. So, but the only difference is if the rebounder plays the ball off the floor or off a chair or passes it after a rebound, it's a violation and must be returned to the 3-point arc and inbounded by the team in possession of the ball. South Africa, through Jimmy Mamfwenga, puts up a shot. Cecil Dumont, one of the all-stars of this particular tournament, converts there for South Africa, and South Africa have 2, Kenya have 0. Shot goes up. Rakhetsi Moleti picks it up for South Africa. Trying to play in Cecil Dumont, but the ball rebounds to the Kenyans. And the number 6 there for Kenya is Peter Manyao. Jimmy Mamfwenga for South Africa lays it off to Dumont, is unable to pick up the possession, and the 24-second shot clock buzzer sounds, so Kenya will pick up the possession. Manyao for Kenya passes it to the number 5, Itikin Tamoy. Tamoy will find Simon Nguji. All right, and just to explain further on these rules, each game will have a time limitation on it, obviously, and each game is 16 minutes long, and the clock is a running time clock, so no stoppages. Each half will be 7 minutes with a 30-second mandatory timeout, and those mandatory timeouts will be in the 4th minute and the 11th minute respectively. And half time, 1 minute long, and the shot clock is a 14-second shot clock, not 24. But if a team should get to 21 points before the allotted time runs down, then that will be the end of the game, and the team that gets to 21 points first takes the game. And then obviously, as with the 5-on-5 version of the game, the wheelchair basketball variation to the running version of the game, there's a classification point systems on each team, and at no time in a game shall a team have players participating whose total points value exceed the 8.5 limit. So each individual player is assigned a classification based on their disability, and the teams will need to make sure that their variations, obviously bearing in mind one substitute, so at any stage when a substitute is brought onto the court, that those points cannot exceed 8.5 points. Should the teams put on a player and they found out that they've been over points, the coach is penalized immediately with a technical foul and 2 points awarded to the opposition. And of course, if the team repeatedly infringes on that particular rule, that team will lose by default. So just a summary of the rules. 3 players, 1 substitute, 1 coach allowed. The total points allocation on the team, 8.5 points. It's a running time game. Fouls result in points added to the opposition. The first to 21 wins, or the team with the most points after the 16 minutes elapses. In the event of a tie at the end of the game, a sudden death will determine the winner. The first team to score will win. Teams will have rolling subs, so they can sub on at any stage without needing to wait for the ball to be dead. The timeouts are 30 seconds. Half time is 1 minute long, and instead of a 24-second shot clock, we have a 14-second shot clock. So I hope that explains the rules and variations of this version of basketball. And I know from a global point of view, FIBA are investing a lot of time and effort into this version of the game. And what it also does is allows the countries that are battling financially to get the 5-and-5 version of the game. And, you know, we had the likes of Nigeria, Ghana having to withdraw from the 2017 IWBF Africa World Championships here in Durban. And this version of the game will allow the developing countries to at least be able to send teams to compete. Kenya, 14-second shot clock violation there, so South Africa will pick up the possession, and South Africa 10 and Kenya 5 at the moment, with as the halftime buzzer sounds, so the teams will have a minute to regroup, and so again, the idea of 3-on-3 basketball, fast action, and it's fast action, and a lot of points, trying to score as quickly as possible. And obviously, the way this particular tournament is working, the countries that have participated here in the 2017 IWBF Africa World Championship qualification tournaments have split up their teams into the smaller numbers, and the winning nation here will be crowned the African champs, for the first ever African champs, as this is the first time that this is ever taking place here on the African continent. Cecil Dumont in the meantime for South Africa plays it to Simanga and Bele. Bele launches it back to Dumont. Dumont puts up the shot, doesn't drop. 3 attempts, and eventually he converts, and South Africa now at 12, and they will look to convert another 9 points and finish off this game. 6 minutes and 23 seconds left. Kenya, though, trying to fashion some form of attack, but once again the 14-second shot clock violation happens, and South Africa will pick it up. Rakhetsi Moleti launches a pass into no man's land, and teams sort of trying to find their rhythm here in this version of the game. I don't think too many of these nations have played too much 3-on-3 basketball, but I know that where there's a continental title up for grabs, they will definitely be looking to claim the prize. So Samanga Mbele picks up the rebound, and of course that is permitted. Any team can pick up the rebound, and whether it's defensive or offensive, and Mbele converts and once again picks up the rebound. Basket is good once again. So South Africa now lead Kenya by 14 points to 7. A foul was called as well, so the Kenyans are now up to 7 points. Jimmy Mamfwenga finds Samanga Mbele. Cecil Dumont, the captain of South Africa, puts it up. So the Kenyan now is entitled to pick up the rebound and puts in the shot. So 14-9 South Africa lead, as the teams are now starting to adjust to the variations of the rule. Jimmy Mamfwenga puts up the shot. It drops. So South Africa 16, Kenya 9. 4 minutes left, but it looks like this game will come to an early conclusion. South Africa only now need 5 points to win this game. Good effort there by the Kenyan. Number 14 is Rajab Abdullah. And South Africa 8, Kenya 9. South Africa 18, Kenya 9. 3 points needed for South Africa to clinch this game, but Kenya put up the shot just in the nick of time, and Kenya should be up to 11 points now. And we have a timeout called on the court, 30-second timeout, as the clock runs down. So at this stage of the game, South Africa about to clinch their first victory, and the way that the tournament is set out is that it's a straight knockout. So if Kenya lose, they're out of the tournament. If South Africa win, they progress to the first semi-final. South Africa now just need the 1 point, and they will progress to the first semi-final. Jimmy Mamfwenga. Ball ricochets off his chair. He manages to keep it in, but he puts a pass straight into the hands of the number 14 for Kenya there, Abdullah. Kenya trying to stay in this match. Ball is knocked out of bounds, and Cecil Dumont will bring it in for South Africa. Passes it to Jimmy Mamfwenga. Mamfwenga works his way around the Kenyan number 5, Itikin Tamoy, and the foul is awarded against Kenya, and that will be the ball game. So the end of the first ever African 3-on-3 game here in South Africa, and the host nation South Africa have clinched a 21 points to 11 victory, and they did so with well over 2 minutes to play. So congratulations to the Amawila boys team 1 as they progress into the semi-finals. All right, so the next encounter we will see is the Algerian team 1, and they will be taking on the Zimbabwean team. Of course, Algeria were defeated yesterday in the 5-on-5 version of this event, and they were obviously bitterly disappointed not to regain their African title, but I'm sure they will put up a good showing here at this 3-on-3 event. looking down at the Algerian team, we have their number 8, Hakim Badashi, their number 9, Rafiq Mansouri, as well as Nabil Tabi, and the other player. Of a number 10 there for Zimbabwe, Calvin Makura. He will certainly look to set up the players to the big tall number 15 Daniel Nuke, as the Algerians have a couple of tall players, although at the moment now. So we have Rafiq Mansouri for Algeria, and closely guarded there by Daniel Nuke. Of course, Daniel Nuke plays in the South African Supersport Wheelchair Basketball League for the Diesel Electric Services Eagles. Ayub Badrani plays it out to Rafiq Mansouri into Nabil Tabi. Good work though there by Daniel Nuke, and he knocks the ball out of bounds, and Zimbabwe will bring the ball out behind the arc. Number 11 for Zimbabwe there, John Magura to Daniel Nuke. Daniel Nuke looking to put up the shot as the shot clock winds down to 3 seconds. So still no score here in this second encounter between the Algerian Team 1 and the Zimbabwean team, as Ayub Badrani tries to find, Rafiq Mansouri tries to find Badrani, but Daniel Nuke steals it away from him. Nuke trying to work it at 8 seconds on the shot clock. Can he get something up and get Zimbabwe on the board? Puts up the shot, but doesn't drop, and Rafiq Mansouri tries a rebound. Calvin Magura, and now Daniel Nuke unable to convert, and now we will have a point here, and the point there goes to Zimbabwe for the foul committed. For the foul committed by the Algerians. We are about to welcome to the commentary box the CEO of Wheelchair Basketball South Africa, Mr. Charles Saunders, and Mr. Saunders has been instrumental in getting this version of the 3-on-3 game into the circuit here in wheelchair basketball, and of course Wheelchair Basketball South Africa have been instrumental in getting the 3-on-3 game into the initially into the Commonwealth Games, and despite the disappointment of Durban withdrawing the hosting of the 2022 Commonwealth Games, the work put in by Charles Saunders and the rest of the Wheelchair Basketball South Africa executives, the sport is likely now to be part of the the next Paralympics. So Charles, big congratulations and thank you to for all your efforts on getting this version of the game going, and it's great to see that we have the the action now taking place in Durban after the success of our 5-on-5 version of the game.
Yeah, absolutely, and take nothing away from anybody here. The whole idea of trying to get 3-on-3 basketball up here is not only from a commercial value and a return of investment, but of course to improve and hopefully create a development structure for those countries that are not that strong within the 12-man game. So yes, a different version of game, a couple of ideas that we put forward. IWBF World hold the intellectual property for this particular game, and this is just one version which we are trying out as a continent to see whether a couple of these rules will be adopted and hopefully improve on what we have as a set of rules at this time period.
Just as Zimbabwe look to extend their lead against the Algerians, and the basket goes in there, and now surprisingly Zimbabwe are up by, should be 7 points to 4. And Charles, obviously the able-body governing body FIBA have been investing a lot of effort and large marketing campaign for the 3-on-3 version of the game. And can you just explain to us what are the major differences between the able-body version of this game compared to the wheelchair version of the game?
Well, at this time period, Gerard, if any of these guys in wheelchairs dunk, then we know that we're in serious problems here. But apart from that, we've taken a couple of concepts from the able-body game. The able-body game, of course, is refined. FIBA 33 have been running for many, many years now, and of course is the commercial value and brings in a different perspective of game. The discipline that we are trying here at the moment, of course, is to move away from conventional rules and regulations, which is not going to be very easy as a breakaway, because the crossover from not being able to lift without your hand on the wheel or jump with both hands and so forth are going to cause a little bit of a how can I say it, an indifference within the game at this time period. From what we're getting right now is that we're trying to take away these restrictions that the 5-man game has and create a more exciting version and a quicker version of game. So yes, a lot of the aspects we've taken from FIBA 33, but at the same time, this is wheelchair basketball and we're calling it action ball, and the idea behind it is to create our own version of rules and regulations.
Thanks for explaining that, Charles. So as we're about to get this second half underway, the score is just looking down at the scoreboard, 9-4 to Zimbabwe. So, you know, it just shows you, Charles, that now that we see the scoreboard has actually now increased to 11, we can see that the likes now of Zimbabwe, who finished in 6th position, are putting up a good showing against the team that finished second in the tournament. So it levels the playing field somewhat.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, and once again, if you had a look at the South African first game, too much dribbling, too much movement of the ball, not enough cutting into the zone. And Zimbabwe have just perfected this now. What they're doing is they're attacking that basket all the time, and that's what's putting him up. Algeria is suffering the same fate as what South Africa had in the earlier game. They're moving the ball around too much instead of just letting the ball work for himself.
So initially there points on the board by John Magura for Zimbabwe, but Rafik Mansuri hit straight back. So Algeria eked their way back into it, but number 11 again for Zimbabwe, Magura.
Yeah, absolutely, Jerry. As you can see here, just for the sake of the viewers, just a couple of the rules and regulations here. The main thing is attacking the basket at all given time. So if these guys take the ball, put the ball on the floor, they've got to get the ball out of the zone area and above the arc, the three-point arc, and by that way they can attack the game again. But as we can see here, a lot of blocking, a lot of rolling off the ball, a lot of picks, and that's what the whole game is about. Much more exciting version. Algeria taking a bit of time to learn exactly what's taking place now. So the version of the game is played to 21 points. The first team that gets to 21 wins this game. and that's the whole idea behind it. So by the time at the end of the 16 minutes of play, if we have a situation where the teams are tied, we go into a sudden death, and a sudden death determines first team that scores wins. So yes, trying to excite the game by creating a lot more speed on it, a lot more movement, and once they start getting a bit used to it, the Canadian players, like a couple of the players that are out there, we believe will benefit by this level of game, the speed and it. So we're sitting at a 13-13 score at this time period, and Algeria coming back.
All right, Charles, sorry about that interruption there, and looks like we're about to get the action underway, and the scores are now level, so a good effort by Algeria to work their way back into it, but as you said, it's taking them a bit of time to adapt to this version.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a knockout situation as well, so the team that loses here is knocked out straight away. And of course the 24-second falls away, we play on a 14-second. For the viewers out there to understand the game, we attack the basket. If you don't put the ball to the floor, you can continue attacking the basket as much as you like. To speed up the game and to stop the stoppages in it, what will happen is that every time there's a foul, depending on if the player is in the act of shooting or basically possession foul, results in points scored against the team rather than going to the free throw line and shooting.
Great effort there by IWBF, and Algeria now with just needing 5 points to secure this victory, but they've been made to work here against the Zimbabweans, and of course the Zimbabweans are by no means out of this game, but they lose possession, and Nabil Tabi for Algeria will put up the shot, doesn't drop, and Daniel Nuke will have a chance to get 2 points on the board, and that's exactly what you were saying, Charles. That,
absolutely.
Viewers out there looking at that would think, well, what's he doing? But he's totally allowed to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. He can keep attacking the basket as long as the ball doesn't go to ground. As soon as the ball goes to ground, take it beyond the arc. So it creates a lot more exciting game. And with us being in wheelchairs, the difference is that it's not that easy to keep moving out of that zone area. So the whole idea of creating this particular rule is that they can attack the basket in a stationary position.
And all of a sudden now, commentators curse. I said, and all of a sudden here goes Zimbabwe into the lead, but great work there by the Algerians, and as a result of the basket going in, the foul was also called against Zimbabwe, so the team will be awarded an additional point for that foul. And
well, let's have a look at that. A little bit of skill that's coming through from the Zimbabweans there. Yes, they struggle in the 12-man game, but of course, so much more better with the 3-man version.
So the difficulty here for Algeria is they actually do have to make here, because if the ball rebounds straight to the Zimbabweans, they can level it up. So a lot of pressure now on these players to actually make sure of their shots. And Rafik Manshuri is unable to convert as the shot clock sounds.
And they go for a 30-second timeout. We have 2 mandatory timeouts during the game. It's a running clock, so it starts on 16 minutes, runs down to 0. The clock never stops. And what happens is a mandatory timeout on 11 minutes and a mandatory timeout in 4 minutes, with a 1 minute half time on 8 minutes.
So the Algerians feeling a little bit of pressure. As you can see, their normal, reliable Rafik Mansouri, as well as Nabil Tabi, stuttering a bit there, and with Zimbabwe, the tall, big Daniel Nuke, I think right now he just needs to get himself into that key, pick up the rebounds, and Zimbabwe can actually cause a major upset here.
Yeah, absolutely, and of course the game resumes on who had the ball last when the timeout was called, so a little bit of confusion on the court.
So here's Nabil Tabi, and good work there by the number 10, Calvin Makura.
And that is fantastic. That was a typical steal. Okay, However, with his steal, he took the ball to the ground, did not take it outside the outbound, and as a result of that, lost the ball to opposition.
All right, so Nabil Tabi, can he convert this? And if he does, Algeria progress to the semi-final. Rafiq Mansouri up against Daniel Nuke, and the 14-second shot clock violation occurs, and now Zimbabwe will have a chance to draw the scores level.
What we're finding with this type of version of game as well as speed, and that's what we're looking for. Excitement and speed, and we're getting it from the Zimbabwean team now.
3 seconds on the shot clock. Nuke puts it up. It doesn't drop, but he picks his rebound up, and he will now have the chance to level the score. So all to play for now. Algeria really do need to convert here, and if Daniel Nuke is clever, he'll look to pick up this rebound. And Nabil Tabi, can he convert? If he scores here, Algeria are through. He doesn't, and Zimbabwe go through to the semi-finals. They knock out Algeria. Wow, what a game.
Now, isn't that incredible? And this is exactly what this game is all about. It's your favorites are not always a team that's going to get through to that particular finals, and what a game indeed.
Well, there was a fantastic advertisement there for 3-on-3 basketball, and the adaptation of these rules really makes this an exciting a game. And as we said, Zimbabwe, who finished sixth in the 5-on-5 version of the game. I was looking across to the Zimbabweans, expecting to see Tayona Ziki as well as Fred Ganyapu, but the only so-called star player that they have in their team there is Daniel Nuke, but it just shows you the other players worked hard with him. And Zimbabwe now through to the semi-finals.
Yeah, absolutely, and a big call out to all you guys out there. I understand that we hit 1.1 million viewers yesterday. What an absolute achievement with live streaming from South Africa. Congratulations to all involved. And Jerry, big shout out to you for everything that you've basically done in getting this game out to everybody. I understand 86 countries watching at this time period.
Thank you, Charles. Yeah, it's been an absolutely fantastic week of wheelchair basketball. I personally thoroughly enjoyed it, and ESPN, if you're listening, I'm ready for that contract now.
Well, a big shout out to all of our sponsors as well. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here today. And of course, the Sasol National Wheelchair Basketball. I'm a Wheeler Boys and I'm a Wheeler Girls. We can say, you know what, without you, we would not be here. So thank you very much indeed.
And next up, we have the African champions, Morocco. They were crowned yesterday after a absolutely fantastic performance that they put up against Algeria. Totally destroyed the Algerian team in the final. And of course, bon dia to our friends in Angola that are tuning into this game. Your Angolan sides did a great achievement in this tournament after being out of international basketball for the past 3 years or so, and they finished fifth, and they will be taking on the African champions. So let's see if the Angolans can put the second and upset of the morning into the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got the newest international referee, Aya Hamid from Egypt, that is taking the court at this time period. Let's see if she can adapt to this 3-on-3 game as well as she did for the 5-on-5 game. Yeah, and of course, a lot rides for Africa with Morocco going through to the World Championships in Hamburg now. And we can only wish them all the best and hope that they take and play well enough to secure a second spot for Africa.
All right, so Angola now with Alberto Gaspar. He puts up the shot. It doesn't drop. Rida Matui for the Moroccans, and of course he was awarded the MVP of the tournament this week, so he's put up a great time, and Gaspar picks
scores against the champions.
Yep, and Angola are up and running. The score is now level, and we still have 14 minutes 50 to play, but Al Hamyani for Morocco converts. Alberto Gaspar for the Angolans. And just to tell you who's on the court, Angola have Gaspar, as well as the number 9 is.
This is absolutely great play taking place by Angola at the moment, Jerry. It's really and truly good skill, good steals, and they are really trying to penetrate. And of course, here we have Morocco trying to block as much as they possibly can, and so close.
So
to the viewers out there again, Jerry, after I score a basket, I have to get that ball over the three-point arc, and the only way I can do that is to pass it as quick as possible. Angola's suffering the consequences now with Morocco just taking off the ball off the backboard, closing down, and of course, being the bigger, taller version, are benefiting from this game.
So we have a Moroccan lead though, 8 points to 4. 10 points to 4 now for Morocco. So they definitely seem to have the advantage of the presence of Rida Matui, and he would look to pick up rebounds. I think if you've got a tall player on your side, that player needs to pick up rebounds, and he can convert all day long.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course that brings in another skill in the game, and that's to block him out and to work him out. You may have height, but you've got to have the skill to break that actual basket as well. Big three missed and converted by Morocco.
So yeah, the long-range attempts these days in this particular version of the game is a bit of a risk unless you have a big player in there to pick up a rebound.
Contact on the hand and the shot. Okay, so the rules are very simple. Any type of contact that takes place is awarded by giving points to the opposition. This hopefully will stop the fouling that takes place in the game, because you get punished quite severely. In that particular case, act of shooting inside the arc, the three-point arc, and therefore 2 points immediately given through to opposition.
All right, and I just need to correct myself slightly on the Angolan players, as the list I was looking at was not quite correct. So on court at the moment for Angola, we do have Alberto Gaspar, we have the number 13 Alfonso Ntanda, as well as the number 5 is Adilson Zhao. For Morocco, we have Rida Matui, we have Al Hamyani, and we also have the number 10 there for Morocco is Abdelillah Ghani.
Yeah, and Angola's getting punished at the moment, Jerry. You can see that they're rushing their shots, they're forcing, and of course big men are picking it up straight away and scoring above them. So they need to settle down a little bit more, drive a little bit more, draw more fouls, and try and capitalize on fouls and scoring off the foul.
So the
and I think it's just a little bit too much now, as the mandatory timeout is called. 30 seconds for the coaches to settle them down, bit of a water break, and it'll be interesting to hear what the coach has got to say to them.
And of course, Angola still have enough time to get themselves back in, but as you say, they're battling to get to grips with the changes to the game. And again, we've only had about just over 5.5 minutes of this game, and Morocco pretty close to sealing victory.
Yeah, the excitement of it, of course, is 21 points, and the quickest to 21 points takes the game.
So Rida Matui picks up rebound. Can Alfonso get it away? He can't. Adilson Zhao.
Well stolen from Rida.
And Zhao puts up the shot, but the rebound will be collected there by Al Hamyani and Gaspar. And Angola can ill afford to miss those opportunities. And Zhao, he gets Angola back to within the 6 points. So again, let's not assume anything here, because anything's possible. But big tall Rida Matui will will not miss that on
It's
too
his
many
favourite
occasions.
spot, hits the 45, and that's it, point after point after point.
So now Morocco 3 points away from clinching this. Angola puts up the three, almost drops, and Al Halmiani. Well, is that permitted there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Charles?
Ball
Yes.
was not taken to the floor, therefore he can take the basket with immediate effect.
And he's allowed to distribute it to his
Allowed to
player.
distribute, go to the next stage, yeah.
All right, so hopefully that will clear up any confusion out there. And Angola now desperately trying to get points up. But that should be the ball game, and it is. So Morocco now, can they go home with 2 continental championships? Let's see as they progress to the semi-finals. And we will then have coming up our next game is Egypt against South Africa 2. And Charles, are we going to see the women today?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know whether it's going to be live streamed. The whole idea was to get this version out as quick as possible so that people can have a look and see what it is. We will continue in the background if live streaming does go off, but the women will participate after the men's competition.
But it's the women's competition, you will get to see the action. It's just that we have limited time available to us here, and we will bring you the recorded version of the women's competition. So,
well, we welcome Stembiso Larson, one of the Marlins players who represented the Marlins during the 2017 season, that has tuned in all the way from New Zealand, and he's watching this version of the game. And from Belgium, Mark Kerf, welcome you guys. It's wonderful to see you all around.
Yeah, Charles, I can tell you that Sheldon Larson, as well as Mark Kerf and the likes of Tucker Beckett and Wiseman Glamini, have been glued to their screens this all week. I don't know how much work they've managed to get done.
Fantastic. So here's a couple of questions that have come through. What happens with the unsportsmanlike foul? Well, yeah, absolutely. As soon as the unsportsmanlike foul takes place, it's a very simple setup. Unsportsmanlike foul is given. 2 points are added to the opposition. If the same player creates another unsportsmanlike foul, he's disqualified from the game. So all rules pertain. The difference is that we don't go to the line and shoot. We basically go and result from.
All right, Charles, and so now we have a repeat of the bronze medal game from yesterday, where Egypt will take on the South African number 2 side. We won't call them A and B because they don't like that, as they were trying to evenly distribute their players into the 2 teams. So on court for Egypt, we have Mohamed Abdelaziz. We also have Bebo, as well as the big, tall Movember special Ashraf from Egypt. And up against him in the Wheeler Boys 2 side, we've got Tandile Zonke, we have Alan Matatatse as well as Shane Williams, and Egypt on the board 2-0. Can Matatatse get a shot up here? He plays it to Zonke. Zonke looks to find Williams, but good work there by Bebo, and Mohamed Abdelaziz will put up the shot, and Ashraf Amar takes Egypt up to a 4-0 lead. Can South Africa 2 work themselves into the semi-finals and give our local home supporters something to cheer about? Shane Williams, shot goes up, doesn't drop. Bebo will pick it up. He picks the rebound, and Egypt race out to a 6-point lead. And South Africa will definitely need to improve on their shooting stats from this past week if they're to progress here.
Yeah, once again, Jerry, you can see the South Africans are trying to dribble this ball in and out, and this is again a failure from them. Instead of letting the ball work for them, they're trying to work the ball. And this game, the ball works for you.
Absolutely, Charles. And just looking around here, this is really exciting stuff here. And I think 3-on-3 basketball definitely has a great future, specifically, obviously globally, but the African continent. And it's exciting stuff. And right now, the South Africa 2 side not coping at all well against this strong-looking Egyptian lineup.
Yeah, well, they're holding on to the ball too long. It's too many bounces, they're not penetrating, they're not rolling off one another, as the Egyptians are.
So
And,
in
yeah,
that, sorry
problem.
to cut you in there, so that last play, the rebound, the ball bounced, so therefore the Egyptians had to take it outside the arc.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's another aspect as well that is actually very, very comfortable here. Question asked, does the 3-second rule apply? Of course it does. All rules pertain. The only difference as what we said in the beginning, is that when we foul or when a foul occurs, depending if it's an act of shooting or personal foul, points are added immediately to the opposition rather than going to the foul line.
Well, I'll tell you what, Charles, this commentator here, Jerry Smith, is enjoying the 3-on-3 version on his birthday, and this morning I woke up feeling quite tired after this long week, but this is really exciting stuff. So let's see if the Amawila boys, number 11, Tandile Zonke, can make anything happen, but he turns the ball over.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Happy birthday to you, old boy. And thank you for coming out on your day and commentating for wheelchair basketball. What a privilege.
No problem, old man. And there goes another old man, Ashraf, for Egypt, Ashraf Amar. And he is edging Egypt into a very convincing victory over the Amawila boys 2 side. Of course, the Amawila boys 1 side progressed to the semi-finals against the Kenyans earlier. Mohamed Abdelaziz puts up the 3, it doesn't fall, and South Africa though will try now to eke back at this 12-point advantage, and they're looking a little bit shell-shocked right now.
Yeah, and you can see that all skills now come into play here. Again, South Africa struggling to shoot and and this is their performance the whole tournament, unfortunately. Just couldn't get the ball in the hoop.
And of course, it's one thing putting a shot up now, but you've actually got to make sure when your player puts the shot up, somebody has to be in the zone there to try and pick up a rebound, because the defensive team can pick up the rebound and score. So, and Amar takes the Egyptians out to a 16-0 lead, and they should have enough here to progress to the semi-finals.
Yeah, absolutely. It's oh, look at it again. They're in control of this game. Oh, called. Ball went down on the ground, and as a result of that, had to take the ball outside the arc.
Referee Faoud there from Morocco explaining the call there to Mohamed Abdelaziz, and in the meantime we have a mandatory timeout. Okay, and the other slight change to the 5-on-5 version of the game is we don't have the 3 referees, we only have 2 referees. So I know the referees will enjoy this, because there's not much running to do for them on this particular occasion.
Yeah, the mechanics of the referee changes quite considerably as well, because the referee needs to be in all sectors. The game is a lot more quicker. The game moves right around the court, and of course you see that the referees' mechanics changes. They follow where the situations are. Overhead pass by Mzalini. Williams looking away from the basket again. Tatsi looking. And again, story of South Africa's whole tournament. Missed shots.
Okay, what can Shane Williams do? Struggling to get away from Ashraf Amar, and Junior Mzalini for South Africa will play it back to Williams. Can he convert? Once again, he doesn't. And of course, the big man, bread and butter stuff, and that definitely during the course of this past week for the Sasol Amawila boys was their Achilles heel. And if you look at the North African countries, the Egyptians, the Moroccans, and the Algerians, they take the points on offer. They don't miss their easy layups. They don't, they put up the percentage shots, and South Africa definitely have to go back to the drawing board, and it's up to each individual player more so than the coaching staff to improve on their game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that they've got to go back to the drawing board. They've got to work it. They really got to work their skills. And there we go. Ball taken down to the ground. And as a result
Shane
of that...
Shane Williams quite distraught there. He thought he had tried to eke some points back in. And now Egypt. Just to remind everybody out there that should a player be fouled, the opposition are awarded 1 point, and so the South African there, Shane Williams. Can South Africa come back, Charles? Egypt need 1 point. What's the chances?
Well,
number 4 there for Egypt.
It would be the greatest comeback if they could do this, but I doubt it. They're running out of time as well.
So on the court for Egypt, as the timeout, the timeout, the mandatory timeout happens, we've got number 4, Sami Al Sabai. We've got Mohammed Abdulaziz as well as Ashraf Amar for the Egyptians, and South Africa too, not looking very happy at the moment. Shane Williams still puzzled as to why he didn't get that basket counted, but of course the rules are quite clear that you are not permitted to bounce the ball off the rebound and put it up. You have to put it up straight away. So good to see Shaki Mopeng tuning in here. Thank you for the birthday wishes. I do appreciate it, Shaki. And there's another man who hasn't done much work this week. Mark Kerf, you can give it a break now. Thank you. Abdul Ghani Bulali, what this game and what its laws. Okay, we hope that you understanding what it is. So just to say once again, we're playing 3-on-3 basketball, and it's the African Championships for 3-on-3 basketball, and Egypt have now progressed to the semi-finals. So for our semi-finals lineup now, we have South Africa 1, we have Zimbabwe, we have Morocco, and we have Egypt. So Charles, an emphatic victory there by the Egyptians, and South Africa too will pack their bags and go home now.
Yes, absolutely, and that's what makes this game so exciting. There's no second chance. You don't score, you don't win, you don't go through, you're knocked out.
All right, folks, unfortunately, this is all we've got time for this morning, but don't despair. We will record the rest of the action here from the Tongaat Indoor Sports Center, and we will show you the semi-finals and finals, and of course the women's competition. So please subscribe to our Facebook page. And during the course of the week, every single one of these games will be up on our YouTube channel, and so you will not miss any of the action. But for now, Jerry Smith wishing you a good morning, and thank you so much for supporting us and tuning in to all of our action from the past week, and from Durban for the very last time. Goodbye, and God bless.